Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Brightworks and a match on Kolmogorov Remake. This is a really funny map. It's a 4v4 map, or at least it's designed that way, although maybe arguably it could be a 5v5 map now that I'm looking at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. It's an interesting map. You can take a look at it here. I'm going to show you the name real quick. Kolmogorov Remake 3.0, apparently an older map. Very interesting. It's got water, but you can't really play in it. There's not a reason to play in it anyway. Tidal power is 15, so it's inefficient to go for tidal power. Most of the time, mainly, you're going to be fighting over land here. There are mountains, there are ridges, there are valleys, there are crescent bays, and one of the most important things is that bots are more than capable of traversing over these steep hills right here. However, vehicles are not going to be so fortunate, meaning that you have a very, very direct rush distance towards the opponent's base if you're using bots. However, if you're going to be going for vehicles, you're going to have to take a much more lengthy pathway. What a bizarre three-headed arrow right there. Anyways. Spawning on the northern side, the northeastern side, I suppose, as this is a diagonal map, it's going to be Snekvunpes going for a triple metal start, some wind turbine power, some solar power, a little bit of everything. Going to be pushing out a constructor as quick as possible here. And I think that's probably a good idea. Securing these metal deposits is going to be as critical as can be. 2.0 metal per second from each of these metal extraction points is going to make them very, very valuable to get their hands on. While it isn't necessarily essential that you capture specific points on this map, there are some points that are obviously a little bit more important. They're the ones with 3 metal extractors versus the ones with 2, going to give you 6 metal per second as opposed to 4, which is not a monumental difference, but certainly every little bit helps. Snekvunpes going for a couple of grunts here, and it looks like that is going to be met by Islaun's grunts up here on the hills, patrolling the ridge lines, trying to maintain the high ground. Obi-Wan would be proud. Representing the red team all the way on the southern side here, it's going to be Izaon. Izaon did decide to go for a vehicle base, so we'll have to see how that turns out here. I'm a little bit worried that the advanced amount of mobility that you get from being able to traverse these hills with bots is just going to outclass vehicles so much more. But at the end of the day, more is almost always going to be less, and certainly is the case here. That was a nice little engagement. A pawn and a grunt working together here from Woolworths and from Snekvunpes to shut down one of those other grunts. Yep, this one will be rerouted, as well as a pawn that managed to slip through, and now Islaun is in quite a bit of trouble here. Yeah, wind turbine's going down, metal extractor about to fall as well. Down goes a healthy chunk of the economy for our orange player. Grunts also make it into the base, and I really think these should just start to run past here. If they can run into the back line, you know that this player has got to be going for something greedy, either airplay or going for a T2 lab, which is the case here for Timbo. And, I mean, aside from the commander, no aggressive units at this point, so slipping some units in back there would certainly be well worth the idea. Construction vehicle, moving forward here, trying to build some light laser towers, and that's always nice. Going to start fortifying these lanes. That is one thing, is these lanes are rather rock solid against vehicles. However, against bots, yeah, I mean, they could just go up and over and avoid most of your static defense, so it's a very, very tricky matchup to play to play vehicles in, so I'm not super convinced that that's the right move here. AT, otherwise, and for the rest of this cast, to be called the green player. Gonna be going for bots here, gonna be going for quite a lot of economy. You can see using bots to build wind turbines as opposed to anything else. Just focusing mostly on growing the economy as quickly as humanly possible, or as robotically possible, I guess I should say. Yeah, with 4 of those guys working on wind turbines, they do put them up pretty quickly. Not bad. Not bad whatsoever. Are we building radars up here? We are building radars up here. That's quite nice. Radar towers up on the hill, of course, going to give you a tremendous amount of vision here. Zdown is definitely trying to recover, but just already the difference in unit count is rearing its ugly head here, and you can see that more and more grunts streaming into this are causing so many problems here for the orange player. Constructor in a whole lot of trouble as well. Ooh, it won't go down, but it is very close. And that is the entire economy for Zdown completely ravaged. He needs to start working on some light laser towers. That's one way that you can save yourself here. Just building 1 or 2 or 3 light laser towers and trying to get some D-guns across wherever you can. Definitely one way to try and help yourself out. Essentially, you need a big opening, big flat open area, and you need to, need to get some D-guns going. Right now, those Zdown in a terrible position. What a wonderful aggression by Snekvunpes, going to firmly secure the center of the map and continue moving the commander forward. You know, it'd be a really cheeky play would be to build a a bot lab up on top of one of these hills here. I'm guessing you could fit one up there. I'm almost certain. Yeah, so you could put a bot lab up here, and then you could have bots a whole lot quicker to move across the map here. There is a little bit of counter aggression from Angry Strawberry, so that's quite nice. No defenses set up here, no static defenses by that I mean. Yeah, no twin guard towers, no beamer turrets, obviously is the Cortex player here, but yeah, that's going to mean that the aggression here is going to at the very least go unanswered for a little while. Thugs turn around and march all the way back down this hill. They spent so long getting up there just to turn around again. Quite unfortunate. But yeah, those that grunt counterattack is actually quite nice. Angry Strawberry shutting down a little bit of the production here, as well as some of that metal extractor output. Counter aggression over here as well, and Incisors blasting apart a lot of these solar panels here, showing their newfound prowess. Those new and improved Cortex laser tanks are very, very powerful, as you can see them blasting away at all of these units here. Nicely done. Snek Von Pest has marched all the way in here. He's using the commander to reclaim as much of this base as possible. That's quite greedy. Definitely could get blasted down by Timbo and Zlown. Oh, Timbo has not known about the update here. All right, Timbo trying desperately to degun this commander. It's still not going to work. Snek Von Pest will degun down the wreckage there so that it cannot be reclaimed and will retreat his commander. Could get a 2-for-1 kill here, though, and that could definitely be well worth it. Wouldn't even mind seeing it if the blue player did move his commander in. Oh, he's still going to get the 2-for-1 kill. All right, nicely done. That's going to be Snek Von Pest taking out both Timbo and Zlown's commander in order to clear this field here. But Zayan is already marching his way across over in that way, trying to eat up a lot of that metal. There is a constructor here to try and eat that up. I think a Resbot would probably have worked a little bit better, but a constructor is going to be fine as well. Pulling back a solid 34 metal per second, nothing to be scoffed at. And Zayon's commander is going to degun down that constructor. Well, actually, managed to dodge the degun by dying. Apparently invincible while in its dying animation, its death animation. Now the thugs are actually threatening Azayon's commander quite a bit. Yeah, it's not a lot of thugs, but it's certainly enough. Those commanders, they definitely struggle against thugs quite a bit. The thugs have just enough range, they have just enough firepower to really be a menace to those commander. Even an AFK Resbot there, that's really unfortunate to see. That Resbot certainly could have gotten quite a bit more value, but unfortunately did get blasted down by those thugs. I think if it had started eating these commander corpses, I would have liked this quite a bit there for our red team, but as it stands right now, nobody is eating up that wreckage field, and I think it's absolutely critical that we see these Resbots marching across and trying to eat up this metal. We're talking about a healthy, sturdy 3.5 thousand metal as Aeon's commander goes down, so that's another juicy commander wreckage right there. The red team down to just one commander out of all this. Very, very risky. Angry Strawberry is the last commander and is very far forward on the front line. Looks like Angry Strawberry realizes that too and starts to move the commander backwards. Resbots need to get out here and start eating this. 1.2 thousand metal here, 3.7 thousand metal right there. All of that combined is going to be a very healthy T2 transition. Azayon working on some pounders. Well, actually, he's already got the pounders. He's got the incisors rolling out now too. Did get a constructor out, so that's quite nice. Can at the very least go for maybe a little bit more build power. But right now, Azayon is looking a little bit shy in the build power tooth. It's just a race to get these commanders eaten up. There are Resbots finally moving across for Snek Von Pest. It feels so late right now, but I guess he was pumping out a whole bunch of constructors before he did that. I like the build power coming up here. We need a metal storage thrown down right now. Although that being said, teammates do have available metal storage right there. Their innate metal storage is available, so eating up this wreckage, yeah, it's still going to be quite available. I'm surprised by the lack of aggression here to recapture this area. I guess Angry Strawberry is forced to keep units over here just because of the pressure that is being applied by Super Toast. Meanwhile, looks like there's a little bit of a counter push here. Resbots finally make their way to the front, but we need to keep those alive. Yep. Absolutely critical that those Resbots stay alive. Meanwhile, blue Resbots have already eaten up one commander and they're working on a second here, pulling back 115 metal per second, going to very quickly dismantle that commander. Eventually, it's shut down by the forces here. Oh, but a lot of those Resbots go down in yellow, too. Nobody able to eat up this wreckage field. Both teams pulling about 1,000 or so metal out of that wreckage, although I think the blue player probably pulling out just a little bit more. Mace is here trying to trade against the incisors, and they do a decent job, but it's not perfect, and you can see the grunts also struggling against these light laser tanks. Man, I do wonder if these things have been tuned just a little too much. They're so good now. I mean, I would expect a tank to do very, very well, and especially 3 versus 1. But man, the incisor is looking really, really strong right now. I want to hear your guys' opinion. Go ahead and write a comment down below what you think about the incisors. I'm sure you guys watch every video. I'm sure you guys watch every stream, right? Surely every stream you've been there. If you haven't, you're more than welcome to go check those out and maybe consider dropping a like on the video or even subscribing if you like daily Beyond All Reason content. I do post at least a video a day. Sometimes more, sometimes less. It's a little surprise I like to release every once in a while. Resbots are the name of the game here. Yeah, picking up the missile truck, but also just eating up all this metal is going to be a really nice boon to the economy of whosoever should be able to pull it off. Incisors jumping on top of all this, and I think that's the right decision here. Yeah, a lot of these units are very slow and very static and very stationary, not really meant for assault. I think a lot of pawns would probably do a whole lot better than just a couple of maces or a couple of rocketeers here. Yeah, the grunts and the pawns seem like they're trading out a whole lot more effectively against these laser tanks, and I think eventually this is going to be a blue victory on this right-hand side, but only if they manage to eat up some of this metal, because right now these laser tanks are quickly whittling through things. Resbots do go down, and that's going to shut down any metal reclaim right now. Meanwhile, a construction vehicle is out, and it's going to start eating up from this metal patch as well. Quickly, the dynamic is shifting, and there are metal patches all over that need to be reclaimed. Oh, okay, interesting. Going to resurrect one of these commanders. Normally, I'd say this is probably a bad idea. However, as the red team is down to just one commander, maybe this isn't such a bad idea to resurrect one of these, especially since this one was already eaten by a Zeon. Well within his right to eat up his own commander, but of course the win condition for Beyond All Reason is to kill all enemy commanders, and so Angry Strawberry is holding together the red team right now. Oh, interesting. Going for a hovercraft lab. Can hovercraft even get up here? I do not know. I don't know if hovercraft are able to get up out of the water from there. I would assume so, but they gotta move so slow. Huh. Interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like this might be a little bit of an investment that could probably be going in a different direction. We do have T2 up, but I'm guessing a lot of that was funded by that influx of metal coming in from those commanders, but that metal has long since dried up, and now we have T2, we have build power coming up, we have all this production, but we don't have the metal income to actually produce anything. We have the facilities for that, we just don't have the actual resources. Grunts getting aggressive, but you need those Resbots right behind the Grunts to eat up everything that the Grunts are killing as they're killing it. At this point, the Resbots are going to be extremely exposed here, and the Thugs are going to make light work of them as they blast apart those reclamation bots. Yep, there's a lot of those Resbots. I favor the Thugs in this engagement atop this hill just because they're firing downwards. Their shots are going to travel a little faster, they're going to be a little more accurate. Minor advantage, but certainly well worth it, and it expresses itself a lot over these massive battlefields. You can see the Thugs trading very efficiently against these units. That being said, I still think, yeah, I guess there was just enough here to break through that Thug line. And since we already have the Resbots out, we might as well use them once more to go eat up all this wreckage field. Incisors will help clean up all of the rest of these auxiliary forces, and that will be the blue player mopped up in the middle of the map. Those metal extractors are going to be taken out as well, and that's quite nice. Incisors are forced to fight along the lines, so we might as well fight along the lines. No reason not to take the fight if we can. Yep, Sheldon are starting to come out of that T2 lab. Would love to see a couple of Fiends too. I think Fiends could definitely easily snag the kill on this commander. It only takes about 3 of them. 2 Fiends can oftentimes kill a commander if they're microed really properly, if they're on either side of the commander and the commander isn't able to deg on them. 3 to 4 Fiends can usually kill a commander with you know, medium tier micro, my level of micro. A commoner's level of micro, right? Not these you know, 40, 50, 60 true skill legends. But if any more than that are engaging with the commander, it's essentially going to be toast, pun well intended. Dragon's Maw are a pretty good option, but they're a little too late here. When they close up their shell like that, they're much more resistant to damage, and it does make repairing them quite easy, as you can see. They're incredibly resilient here when they're being repaired while they're in their shell. Not invulnerable, but incredibly resilient. All of this is just buying time, though, because Angry Strawberry, well, it's all they got in their bank account right now. They've got tons and tons of time with just a little bit of metal. Incisors have been pushing here. Yeah, they've pushed back the front line, but if we're not going to reclaim all this metal all the way along this path, then really that push wasn't all too worth it. Resbots here look like they're picking up the units. Oh, interesting. So Resbots are going to lift up a lot of these Thugs that were killed here, folding them back into the army and trying to make a ground army out of them again. Blue player, of course, forced to expand as close to the enemy as as any one player can, just by nature of the way that they spawn and where their base is located here. T2 is finally coming out of AT's base, the green player's base, and I like it. I think getting a couple of those Sheldon out and about all over the place are going to cement the advantage that you have, but this is really where the damage is dealt. A couple of Fiends running by, accompanied by a Grunt there. Nicely done. Eventually, all of this will be cleaned up as well, all those blue thugs that were resurrected, as well as the res bots, it would appear. So that's a nice little catch right there, going to shut all that down, and finally a res bot will get to work resurrecting all this. Okay. Zlown says, if you're going to keep resurrecting these to try and attack me, I might as well resurrect them and try to attack you. Talk about recyclable, huh? Sure, these robots destroy as many worlds as they conquer, but damn do they believe in recycling. Nice little run by with these Fiends over here. Killing the laser turret is going to open up this area. Oh, a little bit of friendly fire there, but anyways. Yeah, going to open up this area to a lot of harassment, and shutting these down is big. That's a combined total of 16 metal per second. There was one that wasn't finished here, but these two metal extractors... Oh, why are we running away? Why are we running away? No, finish the job. Oh, no, he rallied it back with all of his other Fiends. Oh, no. Oh, he had the Fiend. What a bummer. Yeah, Angry Strawberry moving the Fiend back prematurely here. Could have killed these two metal extractors. What a bummer to see. Could have even gotten into the base, maybe. Although these Sheldon might have shut that down, but still. Unfortunate to see that Fiend get rallied in the wrong direction like that. Typically not what we want to see here. Incisors do get the wraparound here, but there are Centurion included in this mix, and it is easy to underestimate the Centurion, but they are incredibly durable. They're one of the most durable T1 units that are actually out there. As far as bots go, there's a big grain of salt attached to that, of course, because, nothing in T1 is really going to compete with T2, and none of the bots are really going to be crazy competitive with T1. And as you can see, the Brutes here blasting down the Centurion. But as far as durability goes, definitely one of the most durable bots. I like the Exploiters here, but we are long past the age where an Exploiter is going to shut down a run by. At this point, Sheldon are easily whittling down any of these defenses from afar, and the medium tanks are starting to collapse through this. Love to see this Constructor bot eating up all this wreckage. I've been harping on that a lot, but it is extremely necessary. You have to be pushing, and you have to be eating as much as you're pushing. It's really, really critical, mission critical, if you want to have any sort of sustainability, that you eat up and recycle as much of your own metal, as well as the enemy's metal, as humanly possible. Starting up work on a Juno here, it's very draining on the economy. Juno is a T1 structure, but really you should think of it as a T2 or maybe even a T3. It is extremely expensive to run, takes 500 energy per second, and it costs 660 metal, basically the cost of a lab, 16,000 energy. What an expensive investment here. Now, nice, certainly, going to be able to use that to shut down all the radars, all the radar jammers, all that kind of stuff. But is it really necessary right now? It's very good against tick spam, but that's not really what anybody in this game is going for here, so I wonder if it might just be a little bit of a waste of resources over time, effectively costing you a metal extractor or two's worth of metal input, as well as a little bit of energy. I was completely wrong about the energy expenditure, by the way. 160 energy is nowhere near as bad as I thought it was. I thought it was 500 energy per second, but yeah, it's actually quite a bit better. So we have the Hovercraft Lab. We have the naval energy converters, which I do like. I do like that part of this. And then we are going into a amphibious, or a seaplane platform. Amphibious planes platform. So why do we still have the hovercraft platform? Is my question. I think maybe it would be beneficial to go eat that up with either the commander or the hovercraft or something. Get somebody eating this up so that you can use that metal effectively. Otherwise, just reclaim from this battlefield, I suppose. We do have T2 out, so spy bots are available, and if you're being barraged by a hail of Sheldon like this, you can almost guarantee that they're clustered up in a nice little bundle like this. You can almost imagine a single spy bot right here in the middle of all this, right about here, connecting with all of these Sheldon here, paralyzing all of them. Ooh, you're in for a juicy trade, not to mention the amount of metal you're going to get out of that exchange. Sheldon on the high ground, though, barraging everything down here. What a beautiful little waterfall. Those Sheldon up top there are getting an excellent trade against all of these units. Of course, the units trying to push up the hill are slowed down by the terrain, so very difficult for them to get the right engagement. And I think it does mean that these purple Sheldon are going to hold on at least a little while longer. Scorpion battery was built up here on the top of the hill. That's nice. I like a good Scorpion battery. They're very powerful, especially against those T2 units. They can whittle those down very quickly, 2 or 3 shots for most of them. T1 medium tanks versus T1 infantry over here. it's a tricky matchup to play bots against here. However, I think this is exactly the composition that you want. It's as good as a composition as you're ever going to get, and it is still just slightly uncomfortable to play with here. Yeah. You can see the vehicles are just so much quicker that they can jump on top of all this. I really think that I would appreciate a tech transition here from Woolworths going not up the chain, but instead going across the chain into T1 vehicles if we're going to stick around on T1, which it looks like we aren't. Gunslinger has come out, and I really like that. We are into T1 bots, T2 bots, sorry. And it is one advantage that you have as the bot player against vehicles is, of course, you get to eat up their juicy wreckages, which are worth quite a bit more than yours are. So it's eventually an advantage because it allows you to produce more units. But from the start, you have to take more efficient trades, and you have to make sure that you're eating up that metal more expeditiously than they are. There's the word for you. Nice little run by with grunts, though. These units have committed their lives to the run by, and they are not going to be looking for a return trip home here. Yep, just deciding to push on through as quick as they can. Gunslinger here going to try and shut down as many of this. Gunslinger doesn't have a lot of AoE, though, so he can't really shut down big run bys like this. Not really what its tool is. Oh, and we lose the Gunslinger. That is unfortunate. That Gunslinger really could have been a crux here. Unfortunate to lose that bad boy. Definitely could have been instrumental at shutting down a lot of these vehicles. Gunslinger is perfect for shutting down these medium tanks because of its impulse. And it is, yeah, pretty unfortunate that we lost it. We're now in a little bit of trouble here. Woolworths, that is, in a little bit of trouble here. Centurion pretty good against grunts. Of course, anything is pretty good against grunts. They're not exactly the paragon of durability. Gunslinger doing a decent job as well. Ooh, take that back, actually. Friendly fire is pretty immense. Yikes, that grunt does get through. It's a silver bar hero. Woolworths will eventually clean that up, but man, that was quite a lot of damage here. Sprinters are going to be pushed out, and I like that quite a bit better. Weber also produced to eat everything up here, and I like that as well. It's moving real quick, too. Wow. Oh, I see. Fast rock. Interesting. So the low ground here is called fast rock, and everything has a 20% movement bonus on top of whatever they already have. Tiger tanks are out. That's T2 vehicles here for Izaeon. They're tough. They're very difficult to deal with, and at this point, they are up to a whopping 8 Tiger tanks. Now, they are being besieged infinitely here. Not effectively, but infinitely. Yeah, I mean, it's a slow and steady death, but eventually it is a death nonetheless. Tiger tanks are going to push in while the getting is good, and I think that's absolutely the right idea. Should take down the metal extractor with no problem. It's going to be very difficult to clean this many tanks up, especially with the lacking infantry here for the blue player. Eventually, gunslingers are going to be able to do it, but it's very, very difficult, and you have to micro them properly. You have to make sure you're taking the right engagement. You can't get them surrounded. It's a razor's edge that we're dealing with here. Mammoths are going to be pushing back this line here. Not bad. They have tremendous range. They really benefit from a radar bot being next to them, which seems a bit weird. Like they're not the unit that you would normally think of as in terms of needing radar support, but they absolutely do. They have the same range as the Hound, and you can see it indicated by the little red circle here, by the way, but that thin white circle indicates their vision radius, which is much, much smaller, and so that's why they're missing a lot of these shots that they're trying to take here. Either way, though, going to easily shut down the grunt spam coming along that side, so I really like to see that. Grunts, or gunslingers were not microed correctly, and so they will go down very quickly. I mean, there's only so much micro you can do, right? Woolworths commander in a lot of trouble here. Yep, these tigers are moving in. Ooh, come on, we need another one, Oh, D-Gun's not nearly in time, and that is going to be the commander going down. That is a beautiful pick from those Tiger tanks. Huge amounts of damage, effectively removing his opponent from the match here. And this is an open line directly into the backs of the blue team here. Very, very dangerous indeed. Izaeon capitalizing on this, sending the Tiger tanks in deep, making sure that units are pulled from all directions. Nobody is safe here. Okay, seaplanes are up. Quite a few dam busters are built. 12 dam busters are built in total. We do have a couple of watchers coming up as well. Those are the advanced sonar radar planes. They're effectively a T2 scout plane, but a little bit cheaper and a little bit easier to mass produce, and I like them quite a lot. If you're going to go seaplanes for anything, I would definitely say the advanced radar planes are well worth it. One of the most powerful tools in your arsenal here. Constructor is still around for Woolworths, but I mean, one T1 constructor is just not going to be enough. I think he should probably start up some build power immediately. I think that's probably just going to be his best bet. Go for as many build turrets as possible. Those construction turrets, VA construction turret. Bam. 6 of those, going to get you a healthy amount of build power, and you can start rebuilding from there. Go for a T1 lab, start to resurrect whatever you can. Dam Busters are out, and the scouts are out as well. Let's see what the red team sees. Beautiful scout right there, getting a perfect ping sweep of exactly what's going on. Bomber's going to target this hill first. Beautiful bombing right there. Nice little carpet bombing, does connect with a whole lot of those units, and then they're going to change pace. Whoops, come on. Well, anyway, they're going to change pace and go after this base here for Snek Von Pez. Very beautiful bombing there as well. Going to take out a lot of those wind turbines. There we go. And then eventually heading into the back line here. They do pop the fusion reactor, the build power, the lab, basically everything back there. This is a killer bombing run, and this is going to be nearly impossible to recuperate from. Man, those Dam Busters are so good. They drop their whole payload in a single concise package, and it makes them very, very effective strategic bombers. You can see the effective range right there is just, I mean, it's so small. It's super devastating. There's another fusion reactor. These Dam Busters have definitely proven their worth here. Really appreciate that bombing. That was beautiful right there. Mammoths will be spared across the right-hand side to try and clean up this mess here, trying to kill the Watcher there. Not having much luck, unfortunately. Yeah. Unfortunate, but what can you do? At this point, the Tiger tanks are being jumped upon here by the green forces. A lot of that is Sheldons, though, and those aren't exactly assault forces. They're much better at besieging a base than they are at assaulting straight up against Tiger tanks. Bulwark was even built here, despite knowing that the vast majority of the armies here are Sheldon. It's actually a whopping amount of Sheldon on this map. Is everybody Cortex here? Yeah. Yes. Okay, that makes sense. Cortex all around. There's a single Armada player, but they're in the backline producing Centurion, which is, I mean, I'm glad that the metal is being spent. I'm just not sure if that's exactly where we want to spend it. That is a massive investment in Centurion. Oh my goodness. 8,370 metal in Centurion, and so far, I mean, you know, I'm all for letting a unit showcase its strength here, show us exactly what it's capable of, but right now, killing a Twitcher, I'm not sure if that's exactly going to be well worth the justification of 8,000 metal. These bombers are thinking about bombing this area. They're trying, at the very least. They want to kill that T2 lab. They know that if they shut down that T2 lab, it really hinders production here. And they will manage to get it. Also taking down, well, a big chunk of that Mammoth's health bar at the very least. Very nicely done. Yeah, that renders this this middle of the map very, very vulnerable for a little while. Now just going to focus down some of the static defense here. Not bad whatsoever. Well, I think we should definitely focus down the Scorpion turrets. Scorpion batteries and the Persecutor and all that sort of stuff are going to be really, really nice for shutting down any kind of aggression. So killing those with bombers would be very, very worthwhile. Flak eventually shoots those bombers out of the sky, but there are more and more constantly on the way. Just trying to kill the T2 Constructor. Flak turret's too good, though. Yep, flak turret's too good. Oh, oh, all right. Manages to get it down to 65%, but doesn't manage to kill it. However, with a bunch of that static defense removed from the game here, it's going to be a whole lot easier for this army to push on up this hill, try and break this position from green, and at the end of the day, that's a lot of metal, again, laying around on the floor. I would love to see eaten up here by the yellow player. My biggest global criticism is just a lack of metal reclamation all over the place. There are big openings available for run-bys, but it's very difficult to see them. Because of the way that this map is shaped, it's very difficult to understand that you can... This is effectively a flat plane. As far as bots are concerned here. And one of the openings that I see is going in this direction. You'd be able to get into this space, you'd be able to go this direction and get into this space, or you'd be able to go up and over this hill, whoops, and effectively down into this space. One opening that I see anyways. I think it's a lot harder. I know it's a lot harder to be the player playing in this scenario, and trying to find those openings is oftentimes way more difficult. And it's easy for us to see from a spectator's point of view, but it is important to remember that if you scout properly, those will become very, very obvious. Oh, bombers find the commander. I actually wouldn't mind seeing them go, you know, maybe drop their payload and then double back and try and bomb that commander here. Gonna target down the T2 lab. I don't hate it. Yeah, I mean, if you can kill the T2 lab again, we're just ruining production quotas here. Flak turrets are so good against these bombers, though. Yeah, we have enough flak here to completely shut down the T-1.5 bombers, and I think their era is coming to an end here. Regardless of that, it looks like the blue team has finally faced the pressure, and they realize that they are just losing too many fronts. Although this southern side looked like it was pushing in a little bit, maybe a little bit early of a GG, but then again, I guess there was quite a lot of forces here from red and orange, holding on for dear life. But Angry Strawberry doing a great job of pushing in here, awarded the Golden Cow Award for doing everything. Very, very nice to see. Love these 4v4 formats because it does allow these players to really shine and show their stuff. Very, very epic game mode. I sure hope you enjoyed. I hope to see you in the next daily Beyond All Reason video, and I will see you in the very next one. Have a great rest of your day.